Hey everybody, hope your evening's going well. Give everybody a couple minutes to join. Where's everybody coming from? Welcome back, everybody. Welcome from California, Joe. I was in the San Francisco area not too long ago. Welcome from California, Joe. I was in the San Francisco area not too long ago. Hey Peter, welcome back. Good to see you again. Welcome to the stream, Julash. I don't think we've seen you here before. Welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. You've been lucky so far with temperatures, man. I was in Las Vegas last week, this whole last week, and it was like 105 for most of the week, so it's pretty hot there. And then, Robert, we got something cool. That sucks that your Bambu's still on the waiting for a new workbench. Give everybody a minute or so and then we'll get started. Yeah, it was super hot, Joe. I'm glad to be back in Colorado where it's not so hot, and it's actually raining right now and quite nice outside. All right. Hey, Devo. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the stream, I should say. How's everybody doing tonight? We'll go ahead and get started. So, what we'll be printing tonight, you guys have probably seen like these little samples of the filament, these little swirly looking things. So I hunted around and actually somebody's actually made these things and they're actually kind of cool. And something I'm going to print out to test out each of the filaments from here on forward. So I left a link in the description to this JH on printables. So make sure you go out there and like this one and download it. It's pretty cool. It only takes about 30 minutes to print this thing out, and it's a pretty good size sample. It doesn't take that much filament, but it is pretty cool. So be sure to go out here and like this one and everything, and we'll go ahead and get the print started. And then we'll take a look at a couple of other things. So I thought what would be cool is to do two different colors of the PLA here with the little swirly, filament sample. And to go over for new people that haven't seen this before, why we would want to change from the default setting that it's in now to print by object. So right now it's going to print by layer, and what that means is it's going to print one layer of red, it's going to go switch out the color, it's going to print one layer of blue, it's going to go switch out the color, and so on and so forth. And that's why you see it has this tower right here. And if we actually slice this to print it that way, it takes 7 hours to print just these two little samples right here, which is kind of crazy for two samples to do that. Well, if you print by object, which is just right here in the others category, you'll see that we need to separate it out. So you'll see these purple things kind of tell you how far these have to be away in order to print it out. Or you can just click the auto arrange and it'll do that for you. And when we slice this plate with print by object, you can see that it takes about an hour. And what this is going to do is it's going to print, I guess, the red color first and then the blue color afterwards. One other thing to notice here is I updated the printer as well as the software today. I've been in Vegas all week, so I just got back yesterday and updated the software on the printer and on Orca Slicer. And it has this new little pattern that it puts out as well. So we'll go ahead and get this started. So as you can see, from 7 hours to 1 hour for the same two things there. So in certain situations, it really pays off to use the print by object over print by layer. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll do flow calibration and time lapse on this. And we'll go ahead and let that get started. And then we'll go into the next piece. So sneak peek, tomorrow's video will be about ASA. So that's kind of new to the store here. And the other thing that I saw that was new is this PLA arrow. And it's showing like glider planes or whatever, which is pretty interesting to print something out like that. So that might be a future project that I do, because that looks pretty cool. And I have a remote control. I can put some servos or whatever in here and fly a little glider around. But that looks pretty cool. What do you guys think? So low density and lightweight compared to just the normal PLA basic. Looks pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's not foaming. I guess it's just low density PLA. Yeah, the print density is 50 to 80% of the normal. So yeah, I would like to print this plane out and see if we could actually fly it and see if we can put some servos in it or something like that. Yes, he has servos and everything in there. So yeah, I'll probably order some of this up. Then he even has a propeller on there. Hey, Colorado Adventure Club. Yeah, right, Robert. I mean, it's $45 a roll. These jerks. But yeah, probably hashtag worth it on it. I'll probably have to get a roll of each. But yeah, 3D RC planes. So yeah, I might have to make that a little project and do a video or a video series on making this plane or something like that. But I thought that was cool to show that. That's what I saw that was new in the filament area here, other than maybe some new colors and everything. Yeah, that on your. I was thinking about that as well, Robert. On your Eagle drone, that would be something to consider. That's super lightweight for all of that stuff. I'm not sure what the rigidity will be, but I mean, it looks super interesting. All right, let's go through some user prints here. And I think the first two that we'll go through is Derek. So you may remember from last week, I showed you Derek's page with all the really cool additions for the honeycomb wall and everything. So you had those really high strength shelves and everything. So he sent some more pictures of some more shelves that he did. So let me pull those up real quick. So yeah, cool little shelves for, these are the boxes that all of your different pieces and parts come in. And that one looks pretty nice as well. And then Robert, right now you're at 2 kilo without hardware. Yeah, yeah. I wonder what you would be at if you printed it with that arrow. But I'm wondering how much you'll be able to replace with it if it's rigid enough. But it does look rigid enough. It look like the whole fuselage and the wings and everything were made out of that. So it's got to have some rigidity. And that's something that we can actually look at here. In the filaments, that's one of the differences between the filaments and why you might need to, if you're going to calibrate stuff, calibrate between matte and basic and everything. Is I think, one of the differences, and one of the things that you can look at is the density. So like the matte PLA is 1.31. And then if we look at the basic, just the normal stuff, That's 1.24 is the density, and I'm wondering what that arrow is probably going to be much less than 1.3 or 1.2. That would be my suspicion. .21 is the difference. And then foaming rate. That was probably the question that you were asking, Robert. This is the foaming rate of it, and the print density is much different. So the density of the filament is, relatively the same, but what it prints at is different. And then Robert, I'm doing the frame in brass, so the body parts will be what gets affected, right? And yep, it's foaming PLA. Correct. That's what it looks like. Super interesting. And that's one thing to keep in mind with these different filaments that you're looking at is, look at the density of it. That'll be one of the things that affects the characteristics of the filament, right? Like this gradient's the same 1.24. But as you can see, that matte is a little bit different. A density at 1.31. And then if you get into different filament types, like ASA, for example, we'll see what this one is. Yeah, so 1.05 is the filament density of ASA. Oh, for sure, Robert. Still got to have it. I'm gonna try to make one of those planes. That looks cool. We'll have to get some cheap servos from AliExpress or something. I got a couple of controllers I can pair up to there. That'd be pretty fun to fly a little plane like that around. It'd be good for making parts out of it too. I'd just like to see what the characteristics of it are. And then I wonder what PETG. Let's check the density of that. .25, so it's almost the same density as PLA Basic. But that's one thing to pay attention to, is the density of this stuff. And apparently the print density, which it doesn't say on everything, except it did say on that arrow, and that was a difference. And like, I bet the carbon fiber, I would imagine, is more dense. What do y'all think? That would be my guess. No, it's actually a little bit less. Interesting. All right, so thank you, Derek, once again for sending these in. Appreciate that. And I think Renee sent something in, but let's check in on the print here. Let's see if we can go full screen. All right, and there it is, printing the red one first. And as you can see, it'll be done in like 50 minutes for 2 of them. And that's the benefits of the print by object. So anytime that you can use that, make sure that you use that. Then it looks like Renee sent in some prints as well. I'll leave. All right, I put my email address in the chat there. If you guys have any pictures of your prints that you want to show off, send them to my email address and I will show those to everybody. And Renee, I'm downloading yours now. Thank you for sending a couple in. Appreciate that. So let's take a look at Renee's pictures here. And this is the little phone stand. I printed this one out as well. I did it out of PLA. What did you print this out of, Renee? Are you still on with this? You were on here earlier. What material did you print this out of? Helps if I switch over to the picture, right? Nice, Robert. I have this same little phone stand. I printed it out and it's at my desk at work. In Colorado Adventure Club, I wonder what that arrow would be like for those things that you were printing for the inside of the tires for your rock crawler. Since it's kind of foamy and has a weird density to it. Yeah, Robert, you need to get after that workbench now that you waited for the hottest part of the year. But I was just thinking about that Colorado Adventure Club. If you're still out there, that arrow might be something to look at for your rock crawling stuff as well. And then if Renee's still out there, this is the other picture that he sent in there. Yeah, see, that's same what I'm thinking. Colorado Adventure Club. I'd have to feel it to see what it's like. But foaming PLA sounds interesting. I'll have some shortly, so you can come over and check it out. Probably by next weekend. Then I'm desperate going all my own stuff, trying to make my own dealio. Yep. It's in the basement trying to reclaim your living room. Good luck with that, Robert. And saw a video, the hotter, the more foamy. Yeah, that's interesting. You can, there's a temperature calibration test, right? Where you could check that out. I thought there was a temperature test. Yeah, temperature test right here. So you could do a temperature test and look at the different temperature ranges there and see what it does with different foaming. Yeah, it looked pretty interesting. I thought it looked kind of interesting on there. All right, let's go check back in. It was a type of foaming PLA that would expand more versus the heat. Still getting after it. Those little swirls for filament samples, they only take like 30 minutes to print each. And they're kind of cool. And they do show, how the filaments will print. So be sure to go like and save that one. It's a pretty good one. 30 minutes, print each of your filaments so you can have a filament sample. If you haven't done any kind of filament samples or looking for a cool way to do it, that's a good one. And then Robert, the bachelor's life is great. This is a true man cave. Yes, the higher temperature, the more it foams, but at a point you start to lose strength. Yep. Some point of diminishing returns, right? But if you could vary the temperature to kind of vary the rigidity of it, there would be a lot of applications, especially in the RC world, that I would see that coming into play. Yeah, I wonder what the density of TPU is. That's another one that's super. That might be super heavy, I would think. Oh, it's actually lighter, 1.16. Interesting. Then Renee says he's currently on his 6th lithophane moon lamp print. I need to stop showing the light to friends and family. That's funny. Hey, Skyrider. Yeah, tomorrow's video will be around ASA Skyrider. This ASA specifically. And then we see what Renee printed for the Saturday night live streams. Has anybody out there have the P1S yet? Anybody out on the live stream? I'm interested to see if anybody's got their hands on them yet. Have they started shipping them, or are you still on a wait list, or what? And thank you for hitting the like button, Skyrider. Appreciate that. That helps me out a lot. Really do appreciate it. And then Michael, I think I'll wait for the next upgrade to the X1C before buying another Bambu. I'm the same. Um, if I needed a second printer or I was looking at one and didn't need the full enclosure or whatever, I would look at the P1S, but I'm the same with you. If they do like a X2C or something like that, and it's the next, X1C upgrade, that would be the one that I would buy as well. Hint, hint, Bambu, if you're out there watching my tiny stream, we're ready to buy it. Yeah, we're at X1 class with the larger print volume. I thought that the next thing that they would come out with is a larger print volume too. Bigger is better. Yep. And Joe says, not me. I had installed the ARC project, so I'm good. And Michael, but the P1s and all their variations are just X1Cs with slightly cost reduced hardware. Agree, right? It doesn't have the same little touchscreen thing. It has a different little, screen to use. I think the belt and the drive are a little bit different on them. But otherwise, I think like the frame and the essential stuff are relatively the same. Just tried Orca Slicer and my print went full spaghetti on my P1S. Interesting. Did you update Orca Slicer today or whatever? I've been in Vegas all week, but I did have to update Orca Slicer and my X1C today. But I haven't had anything spaghettify yet. And I'm using Orca Slicer right now for this print. As a matter of fact. Yeah, downloaded it today. Interesting. Yeah, I just downloaded it on this computer earlier today. What about LiDAR only on X1, right? Yep, the LiDAR is only on the X1, and the X1 has the neural network thing or whatever, the little neural network cores or whatever. And that's what does the spaghetti identification or whatever, and it uses the LiDAR to do that. Which is kind of handy, and it does work pretty good. I will say that does work good on the X1C, that if your print does spaghettify, it does stop and notify you that it's spaghettified, which is pretty cool. And the big screen and the camera is 1080p instead of 720p, which the P1S and the P1P both have 720p cameras. But I think the P1s have Bluetooth as well. And thank you everybody for hitting the like button. Appreciate that. But yeah, in my opinion, back to what we were talking about before, in my humble opinion, if you already have one of the Bambu printers. I wouldn't buy another one just yet. I would wait to see if there's a larger format, if there's a new X1, if there's something like that. The P1S was interesting, but yeah, not. If I was looking for a new printer and that was my first one, that one is a very compelling one to get a hanger. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on your P1S, if you have any initial thoughts on it and everything other than the spaghettification from Orca Slicer. Make sure hanger on the P1S, if it's like the P1P, I believe it comes with the textured PEI plate. If you're printing small pieces on there, they tend to slide around on that plate, and that will cause your spaghettification. And it's not just the software. Be careful what you're printing will have that effect as well. Suspect they'll have a new version of the AMS to include some of the user designed updates that would be easier for them to roll out before an entirely new printable model. Yeah, or some way to speed up the whole process of print change. If you look at some of the other ones that they do, I wouldn't say a better job, but they approach the problem in a different way. And maybe there's some ways that Bambu could speed up the color change process, because it's really cool to be able to do the multicolor prints and everything like that. But anytime you have to do a color change and, using those support materials that can melt in water and all of that, or dissolve in water, or break free in water, all of those things have a time cost to them, right? Because it takes a really long time for it to poop it all out the back and then put it on the little poop tower and then go to print again. So there's a big time cost to all of that. So hopefully the next AMS generation and the next generation of the X1C will address, that, and make, the printer can print really, really fast. And that's cool, but now make the color change really, really fast. Is there a way that it can, it knows how much filament per se it's using, right? It has an idea. Can you cut the filament off and splice the next one in to, really eliminate that? Because part of that time is it has to pull the old filament all the way back, right? All the way back through your tube and then push the new one back in. And that takes a whole lot of time. Is there a way to cut it beforehand and have the next one already ready to go to save some time there? So those would be some of the things that I would hope to see in the next generation of the stuff, is faster color changes. Yeah, that's what some of the aftermarket filament changers do, but they're not as reliable. Yeah, and the big thing with the AMS, and why I wouldn't use anything other than the AMS, even with its shortcomings, is with the Bambu filaments, you drop them in there and it has the little RFID reader on there, and it knows what filament you have in there, and it can go through there, and they're pretty reliable, and you plug it in and plug and play, and you don't have to do much setup with it, where it looks like the other ones there's a bit of setup that's needed with that, like the Chameleon, and what's the other one, the Palette. And the Palette, I've heard people had nothing but issues with that thing. So I'm not sure about that. Dual extruder system, maybe that may be, if that's another, so that'd be another way to speed up the filament changes as well, Skyrider. That's a good point. With the dual extruder setup. But yeah, those would be some of the things that I would be looking to see in the next generation of like the X1C and the AMS and everything. Has anybody else heard any other rumors about the new one? Yeah, I would like to see a larger, printer, area or something, or at least, the option to have a larger printer. Because there's not everything, I'm able to print inside of there, and not all of the stuff that I want to print do I want to cut in half and then glue back together. So it'd be nice to have a larger format printer to do that. And then it would be nice to have an upgrade to the AMS system. Although, like, I'm a big fan of the AMS system, and it uses, non-bamboo filament as well, which is pretty nice. So all those make a big difference for me. But yeah, hopefully they do upgrade all of that. And I hope that it's not just the P1S that's the only upgrade. Trying another test with Orca Slicer. Yeah, if it's small parts or if they're moving around, Hanger, look at it. If it's moving around and that's what's causing the spaghettification, put a brim on it. And how you put brims on things is right here under others too. And just go auto brim or, inner, outer brim or whatever. Put a brim on it, and that will help hold it down so it doesn't slide around and spaghettified. And then Skyrider excited for tomorrow's video about ASA. Been reading a lot about it. Yeah, it's super interesting, and it fits right in with last week's video on ABS. And then Hanger, I'll pick up a AMS in a couple of months. Awesome. Yeah, the multicolor and sneak peek in tomorrow's video, multi-material prints that you can do with the AMS are very interesting. And the whole reason, like, I was looking at the palette beforehand and, maybe upgraded Creality or Prusa or something like that. But I wanted to do multicolor because I can't paint worth a darn. So I'll paint with some filament changes was my thought process on there. And that's what led me to the Bambu and the AMS, and why I got 2 AMSs is because there are some prints that I've done that have, not a lot of them have been 8 colors, but there's been some of them that have been 5 colors, and it's really that 5th color that makes a difference there. So I do highly recommend it, and highly recommend getting 2 if you can. I know they're expensive, but if you can, it is worth having 2. The other thing that makes these kind of worth it, and you guys can see that I still have my ABS as well as my ASA in here, is because they are, at the right humidity in here. And this thing is pretty accurate. It was red the other day, and I went in there, and sure enough, the desiccant pack was all brown or whatever, and I changed it, and about an hour later it turned green. But this keeps everything at the right humidity as well, which is pretty cool. So if you're going to be printing a few things out of these materials like I am, it's good to have them in there. And somebody noticed that I don't lock them all the time, so I've been trying to be very conscious of that and make sure that I try to lock them to make sure that seal is there. So I'm taking advantage of the benefits of that. So as we can see, we're halfway through. Then it started printing the blue one now, and the red one's done. And I'd really recommend those little swirl things. And again, the link is in the description. Those are pretty good filament samples to print out, and they only take 30 minutes. And then Alistair just ordered my second AMS yesterday. Yeah, I haven't found a reason other than, again, the storage of the humidity or whatever, but that's pretty expensive to do that. That wouldn't be the only reason that I would get one. But I haven't found a reason to need more than 2. But yeah, you could do some really crazy stuff with more than 2 of them. And then Joe says if you've not updated your P1P to Bambu Studio 1.7.2, don't. Yeah, I don't use Bambu Studio. Orca Slicer did update today, and this is the new version of that. I don't know if it says what version it is anywhere in here. But yeah, this updated today. Or I updated it today. At least I should say. I've been out all week, so I got back yesterday and did some stuff. And I updated some stuff yesterday, and then I updated this Orca Slicer today. Yeah, it looks like they did 2 updates over the week. See, that's good to know. I've been out all week. I haven't printed anything. It's working for me, guys. I mean, I printed a few things on it already. I dried this filament out right here, and I printed a few things with it. And then right now we're on the new update, and it's printing these little swirly things just fine. So maybe it's just on the P1 models. And Daniel D, I've been running the hot fix, and I haven't had any issue. Maybe something new broke from Joe. Maybe try a factory reset on yours, Joe. And see if you can redo the update or something like that. Maybe you got a little glitch in the software or something like that. Try to force it to do it again. That may help it. Yeah, Alistair, X1C, no issues. Yeah, I haven't had any issues. I printed a few, one thing with pretty intricate with actually different materials, and it printed just fine on the new update. A sneak peek, it was with ABS and ASA at the same time. It did just fine. And I'll do that when the printer finishes my Chinese ball. What else has everybody been printing out there? A fidget puzzle ball. That's interesting. Once I get done printing all of this stuff, I'm going to work on printing some of those shelves that Derek sent us from last week and from this week's user picks as well. And if you guys remember, there's more of the little hexagon things on there, and he reshaped them in a way that they can print without supports or whatever. That way he could put more of them on there for more strength. Let's see, and then Daniel, I just finished the steam pump hand from Flexi Factory. Wow, send us a picture of that, maybe for next week's live stream. Hanger, is the P1S able to go ludicrous mode? Mine won't. It won't go past sport, so it won't go. It doesn't have the ludicrous right here, and you have to click it twice in order for it to do that, Hanger. So even though I'm clicking on ludicrous right here, it's only going to go to sport, and then when I click it again, it goes to ludicrous, and then same when I go back down to standard. So make sure you're doing that, Hanger. Hopefully that helps. That would be interesting, Hanger, if the P1S didn't have ludicrous mode. That would be pretty interesting. And thank you, everybody, for pressing that like button. I really appreciate it. It's not going into ludicrous mode. Interesting. Yeah, I don't see anything about that immediately on the Googleverse Hanger. Like I said, that would be very interesting if it did not have. I don't see why it wouldn't have ludicrous mode. 20,000 millimeters per second squared acceleration. Yeah, that's like all the same. $18-minute benchy. Let's see, let's go, if we go to the official website here, there's a comparison with the three. That's what I used for the video. Yeah, compare all printers. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the speed on here though. That would be very, very interesting. I don't see why this wouldn't have ludicrous mode, Hanger. That's very weird. Something's not right on that. That's all I would say about that. There's something not right there, because I don't see why it wouldn't go into ludicrous mode. Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. Then Daniel says that he sees the option on the P1S but hasn't tried it yet. Have you tried, Hanger, doing it from the little screen on the front. I don't know what the path is on that screen. I do know what the path is on the screen on the X1C. It's the little gears where it says temperature and axis. So and you have to set it while it's printing. Right. Yeah, and make sure you're printing something. You can't set it outside of a print, right? It's always going to start printing in normal mode, and then you set it to those other ones. Orca failed again. Yeah, again, we're watching Orca right now. It's doing the print by object too, not your standard print. And you'll see in tomorrow's video, I did a pretty intricate print with the filaments, and I did it all in Orca. Maybe time for a hard reset hanger. Just reset everything. Uninstall all the software, factory reset the printer, do everything all over, or just move to Bambu Studio. I mean, whatever works for you. Everybody's situation, everybody's computer, everybody's network, all of that stuff's all different. So your results may be different than mine. That is expected. And I do like the new little flow calibration pattern. It doesn't do the little crazy looking thing. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not. But it does this new little pattern right here. And that one over there instead of what it did in the past. I don't know why when I go to full screen it shows something in the past so far like that. It's weird. That changed since the update. That's really weird. Whenever I do that, now it's live. And we only got 10 minutes. We're at the top of the hour, but we only have 10 minutes left of the print. So I'll stay on for 10 minutes while this finishes up. Anybody else have any questions or comments or anything like that? Anything you want to see in future videos? Hanger says I'd like to see more Orca tutorials. All right. I'm happy to do those. Those are not hard to do. If there's anything specific you'd like to see, send me an email. I'm happy to do it. Oh, I think some people have been asking for to show my settings in Orca Slicer, my standard settings for the Lenny setup or whatever. So let's see how far into the stream I actually want to mark that down for people. Yeah, here's all the settings. Everything's pretty much standard. The only things that I really change, I haven't changed any of this stuff. All of this is all standard. I haven't changed any of this. Right here, I unchecked enable support because support is standard on there, so I unchecked that. But all the rest of this is the same. And then same thing here. I changed this from auto to no brim. Those are the only changes that I made, and why I used my own setup or saved it that way is so I don't have to go in there and change those things every time because I forget about that. And then I'll be printing with those things that I don't like. I'd like to see the 3D chameleon using TPU. Lyndon, Dr. Maybe not soon, but in the near future, we may see that on another printer. And we'll see about the 3D chameleon. We'll see exactly how much tinkering you have to do to get that thing to work. Yeah, but for those of you that are looking for my settings or whatever, really the only things that I change are the support and the brim or whatever right here. And then I do have my tune for eSun PLA, which is this, but I wouldn't recommend necessarily using mine unless yours is just way off. Use this as a starting point. But that's what I have it tuned with, is all of these settings right here. And that works for any color of the PLA Plus for me and my printer. And while that may be close for yours, oh, you guys can't see the settings? Oh, yeah, because I can't. There we go. Sorry, now you guys can see it. I haven't changed any of the settings. Just enable support right here. And from auto to no brim. And then for filaments, I have the eSun PLA Plus. These are the ones that I use, but these may be close for you, but you may not live in the same area. It may not be exactly the same for you. Maybe Colorado Adventure Club could probably get away with these settings since we live pretty close to each other, but your results may vary again, but those are the ones that I have and what I use on there. Yeah, and we just got 3 minutes left. And like I said, to do filament samples, 30 minutes each, and you could probably do 3 of these, I would think, by print by object. 30 minutes for each one's not bad. And with the curves and the twists and everything like that, that's a pretty good representation of how stuff will print for you. So if you're looking for an alternative to just the flat plates, or, you know, printing a whole bunch of benchies or something like that, these are pretty cool. And then Hugh says, my P1S arrives next week. What is the width and depth of the printer? It's 256 millimeters all the way around, I believe, Hugh. Yep, 256 by 256 by 256. So the build plate's 256 by 256, and then it will move. Oh, let me switch over so you can see. So it's 256 cubed. So the build plate's 256, and then it drops down from the print head. 256 millimeters. Which is what it says, but it's hard to get that entire surface right, because it does its calibration on the front right here, that little line right there, but the exact size is 256 all the way around. Oh, outside measurements, so you can figure out the desk. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the P1S. My desk that I have my X1C on is 2 feet, 24 inches in depth, and that's enough, you know, with some room on each side. So I would say, Hugh, you know, 24 inches by 24 inches, 2 feet by 2 feet, whatever that is in centimeters, if somebody wants to do that conversion. That's what I would recommend. And you're welcome, Hugh. And there we go, just like that. We have 2 of those cool filament samples that look like the ones that are on the website. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that print. And as you can see, it didn't take very much time at all to get 2 of them. And those are, they're not tiny, you know, they're pretty good size. And like I said, I've printed a couple of these already. They're pretty good representations of how the filament prints. So make sure that you go out there and like that one and save it to your profile there in printables. And yeah, if you're looking for something to test your filament out with, this is a pretty good one. And with that, we're a little bit over for the evening, but I appreciate everybody joining. Appreciate everybody hitting the like button and all of that. I really do appreciate that. And I hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend. And I'll see you in tomorrow's video. And see everybody next week. Thanks, everybody.